Hello, everyone, and I'm here again to bring you exciting world of real estate. Welcome to our Real Estate Wisdom Podcast, and I'm your host, Vishal Kapoor, and this is episode number 36. And today's topic is the one we're talking a lot about. I'm hearing a lot about it, and people have concerns about it. And let's see what the data says, what's going to happen. And the topic is Gen Z would be able to afford house or real estate? Interesting, isn't it? Well, let's dive into the topic and look into a little bit like in the history and comparison what's happening. So first of all, who are Gen Z? Gen Z are anybody born after 1990. And we also, before that, like it was millennials, like at 29.5% millennials in Canada, and 17.6% are Gen Z. And 19.7% were baby boomers. So no doubt that millennials have contributed in real estate a lot. But with the rising cost of investment, mortgages, and other expenses which are happening, lifestyle changes, the question always asked, is my son or daughter able to afford the house? And most of the time I hear from people saying that, no way they can afford that. Their salary is not increasing that much. And the cost of living is going higher and higher. Interest rate is almost like a double, triple. But also looking into, backtrack a little bit. If you go baby boomers, I know the prices were very low that time. You can buy $80,000 a big house in Oakville. Yes. And the interest rate was like almost like 20%. And people were paying that interest rate. That was fine. But at the same time, if you look into that, how much was the salary at that time? If you look into the proportion of that, definitely that was a big thing. So over the time, what changed? Millennials was a great timing for them when the interest rates go down, and it was not that high. And that's give them ability to buy more house, buy more real estate. And in that way, they were able to afford. Some were smart enough. They did the multiple properties and saving towards future for their kids. Some people did for retirement. Some people did for their kids' education. It's the wealth they accumulated. But now the question is, when the scenario is changing, world is changing, is Gen Z ever able to afford housing, right? So I was doing some research and say like, okay, well, there's a lot of negative out there, and a lot of people thinking, what's going to happen? And so I said like, well, let's dig in. Like, let's see what we can dive in on that and how it's going to impact or not. So some of the reasons, these are the data which is provided. I was looking to comparison to US and Canada both, because they are pretty similar, but not so similar, because the prices in the US is still low. Even the interest rate is high over there as well. But in Canada, also like the prices are very high compared to US. And the reason behind that is because population, right? They're 10 times more population in US than Canada. So looking to the both data and looking to the what trends are going on, this is what we going to think about that. So despite many young Canadians struggling to get a foot on the property ladder, the youngest group of real estate investors, those age 18 to 34, are the most likely to have more than one residential property compared to their older counterparts. Yes, that's data coming from internet, like a Stats Canada. I did like a lot of analysis on that one to get to that point. Um, However, we're going to look into that. What are the challenges out there as well? So if you look into the historical perspective, the interest in real estate investment among young Canadians has evolved significantly, with a notable increase in the youngest investor cohort owning two or more investment properties, a trend that is significantly higher than the aged 35 to 54 and those 55 or older. What are the factors investing in these influencing these investment decisions? Are key factors like the younger generation decision to invest in real estate include the health of the Canadian economy, as reflected in Canada's job market and income levels, which strongly impacts the real estate market. So factors is always like they have looked into their previous generation, how their parents, previous generation, like, and how they invested and how they're reaping some of the benefit. Even we right now they're crying about, interest rates gone high, my mortgage rate got high, I have to pay double, I cannot afford it. But think about that. People who have purchased the property 10 years ago, even, right? The price has gone double and triple. So the equity they have accumulated, that's huge, isn't it? So it's not like, full loss. Like, now it's people took out the equity and invested other places. And that's why, because the financial planning was like, they were thinking because it will keep on going, right? But that didn't happen. So this is a little bit like a dip right now, but it's not that bad. Like, still be holding on. So some economic and financial challenges. Well, economic conditions such as employment rates and income levels have a strong impact on the real estate market, with a robust job market and increase in incomes boosting people's confidence to buy homes, which eventually drive prices. So, and we talk about episode after episode about the main factor in Canada is the immigration. Minimum 400,000 people coming in. Even I talk about in my last episode, a lot of people thinking it's not that lucrative anymore. The Canada is not that lucrative anymore. And they are, holding or rethinking their future. How do they want to live over here, or they want to move somewhere else? But for the younger generation, now with the globalization and everything, it's, they can go anywhere. Then one interesting thing which I find out, it's going to happen, a lot of younger generation, they're not thinking of buying as a primary residence. They're looking more towards investment. And that's the thing is in the primary residence versus investment. And there's a trend among young Canadians prioritizing investment properties over buying their own homes, with 15% of Canadian residential investors not owning their primary residence, the majority of whom are age 18 to 34. Interesting, isn't it? Why so? Well, there are several factors. I have seen several factors right now. I do like a lot of leasing as well. And when we see applications come out, and a lot of time it's happening these days that the tenants already own 2 or 3 properties. And then I wonder, I question, if you already own 2 or 3 properties, why are you renting? And the answer I get, it's a lifestyle. They need a bigger space. They're the houses or property they own, they are small. So what they do, they rent those out, and then they buy renting the bigger property. And think like how that works. Well, the way it works is basically when you're renting these days a bigger property, it's much less than buying or paying the mortgage for that property. So for example, if it's 3,000 square feet or 3,500 square feet house, which average between 5,500 to 6,000 in rent, mortgage on those properties gone up to 8,000 to 10,000, even more in some cases. So, but the mortgage for smaller property, like let's say the 2-bedroom condo, it's around 3,000 to 3,500. So if you're moving from there and you're spending a little bit more, you're getting some income from there. Just for $1,000 more or $1,500 more, you can enjoy the bigger property. And any money coming out from there, if they have positive cash flow, which unfortunately they don't, but if they were smart enough and they have the fixed rate, they're still making some cash out from that, which they're using towards renting out the bigger property. So that's an interesting trend, and which I notice myself as well. Those are the things happening, that 15% of Canadian residential investors not owning their primary residence. Now, the biggest challenge for the younger generation is like barriers to entry. And there are significant barriers preventing young people from entering the real estate market, including higher lending rates, with nearly 1/3 of investors in Canada having considered selling one or more of their investment properties due to these rates. So younger generation is very smart enough. And this is, they got smarter. Old days, like you have to have, there was real estate book used to come. But with the technology advancement, everything is on your fingertip. Market analysis, everything is getting provided. And to be honest, as a realtor, our role is more about a consultant and more as a negotiator. We are not the data provider anymore. Even the market analysis, we do the market analysis on the micro level, not only just on macro level. So a lot of people look into macro level and say how it's going to impact, how it's impacting Canada-wide, while every market is different, right? Even in GTA, there are different markets and how they're going to impact and how the economy is impacting that, right? So it's not universal. So technological advancement and the new investment platforms are changing the way young people invest in real estate, with consumers becoming more educated on real estate investing and their confidence and interest in the sector increasing in recent years. One of the biggest opportunity which people have utilized is Airbnb. If you go Niagara Falls, for example, and the events are happening, because it's seasonal, but it's not so seasonal anymore. Airbnb was an event recently, it was solar eclipse when it happens. And people were all hoarded in Niagara Falls. A lot of hotels, they canceled their previous bookings and they were renting out for $3,000 a night. I remember one of my friend investor who owned the property in Niagara Falls, a 4-bedroom house. He rented that house for the night for $8,000. Yes, because 1 bedroom was cheaper than getting in the hotel. So that was I said like a smart investment. A lot of people also utilize cottages or our north side when people going and spending on the weekend. And even Airbnb over there is so expensive. People making more money than what they can get on the regular rent. So regular rent, if you can get for 3,000, for example, right now, for a weekend, if you're doing it, it's anything between like $1,000 to $2,000. So you're making like more money there. And younger generation is like a smart enough because they know technology better. And they also seeing the trend faster than anybody else. So if I do the comparative analysis with other investment avenues, real estate investment is seen as a way to build generation wealth with savvy millennials looking for opportunities in the GTA investor market, indicating a preference for real estate over other types of investments like stocks or cryptocurrencies. One thing which I really like about the newer generation is like they're diversifying their portfolio. They're not just putting all the money in real estate. They're also looking into cryptocurrency. They're also looking at the stock, and they're also looking into small businesses or startups where they can invest to accumulate more wealth. So I think it's a great idea to diversify your portfolio and not just relying on real estate. What are the future predictions? Well, if I have the magic ball, probably I'll be a billionaire. Nobody had that crystal ball, right? So, but I will say the interest rate in real estate investment among young Canadians is predicted to increase with 51% of current investors and 23% of non-investors considering buying an investment property before 2028. Yes, and these are the data which I got over here. This is from Newswire, that more than 1 in 4 Canadians plans to purchase an investment property in near future and property before 2028. What's the advice for young investors? Well, young Canadians considering real estate investment today are advised to become educated on real estate investing as their confidence and interest in the sector have increased in recent years, with many looking for opportunities to build generational wealth. And a lot of time people think like interest rates going high right now, so expensive. But on top of that, the prices have gone down as well, right? And this is what happens when the prices go down. That's a time which you want to invest because we cannot keep up this for long. Inflation is not going to there for long. Government will change, policies will change, and in order to make it lucrative, more housing going to come, and to make more sense, eventually things will go like it's a saying that if anything goes down, it will come up. If everything go up, will come down. So it's just a cycle, right? And real estate investment is a long-term investment strategy. It's not like, you buy today and sell it tomorrow. But most of the time, what we think is when prices go up and down and we get worried is just like we're going to sell it like tomorrow and we lost that money. We not looking to that. Like, most of the time we're looking into selling in long term, 5, 10, 15 years. Depending upon, I can say that like a lot of people who were making money by buying them new build, and then they thinking of keeping it for 1 year as a rental to save some capital gain, and then they sell it and they get the appreciation, and people have make hundreds thousands of dollars, more than that. Like, in some cases people make like 300, 400,000. Where you can get that kind of money, because that's why the real estate investment was so lucrative. But right now it's not, so people were thinking what to do. The biggest thing is going to happen is like an impact of government policies for sure. Current government policies affect young investors by influencing the economic conditions, such as employment rates and income levels, which strongly impact the real estate market. We already have talked about government policies and so much, and it's all over the news, and a lot of criticism government is getting for that. Interesting thing was like, I was watching this. I think it was like a TikTok video or a real video. It's from some news where Governor of Canada was saying that, I don't know, the interest rate is going to come down. But our Prime Minister said like, a few days ago, interest rate is going to come down, which he doesn't have any control over. So it was interesting and funny. Well, success stories, I will say, success stories of young real estate investors in Canada includes those within the youngest investor cohort, aged 18 to 34, who are the most likely to have more than one residential property compared to their older counterparts. And this is given. Percentage might be a little bit lower, but because 18% compared to like what was that, 27%? 29.5%, right? So, but yeah, this is like, if they do it smartly, they're going to make money. Well, role of education and real estate investment is so important. So education about real estate investment is important for the younger generation, with consumers becoming more educated on real estate investing and their confidence and interest in the sector increasing in recent years. We have seen it like so much interest happen, right? But at the same time, like, they get demoralized pretty quickly as well when they see the market is going down and say, oh my God, what I did, I should have done that. Don't doubt that. Don't doubt that much. Hang on there, right? Don't get panicked. Things will come. And that's what the younger generation has to learn, is how to keep calm in the storm, right? And storm will pass and things will get better for sure. So, and the final thoughts regarding young Canadians and real estate investment, I'll highlight the growing interest and confidence among the younger generation in real estate investing, with many looking for opportunities to build generational wealth. The one thing is, before I end, I forgot to mention that before, people saying like, where are they going to get this money from for their down payment, and are they able to afford? Well, the parents have generated a lot of equity in their houses, and a lot of parents are helping their young kids for their down payment. And a lot of time is the interest-free money, which you inheriting from your previous generation. So that money is going to come in the market as well, because otherwise the money is just sitting there, not doing anything until you sell. But right now, the equity you're selling, you can take out the equity and help your kids to invest in real estate and have their own place, rather than like living in the basement or renting out. That's a great way of creating generational wealth. Well, this is it for today, and love to hear more from you. What do you think about this podcast? What's your opinion about this topic? And love to hear what strategies you have right now with you, or even you're thinking about how you're going to help younger generation, or if you are Gen Z, what are your thoughts? Is real estate still lucrative to you? The things which I said, like, does it make sense to you? I open for all the opinions. It's in favor, not in favor, because my job is to help, My job is not to control or influence anyone. I'm just talking about the facts. And the facts are subjective as well, depending upon what stage of your life you're in and what's your situation. Not everybody's situation is same. Maybe like your situation is different than mine, and my kid's situation is different than yours, right? So it's all subjective in my things, but it's very personal. So come and get educated. Watch more podcasts like this, hear different opinions, and then form your own opinion based on that information. Just don't go with the flow, what media is telling you, what realtors are telling you. Use your wisdom. And here we try to do exactly that, providing real estate wisdom. Even I'm a realtor. If you come and ask me, it's a good time for me to buy or sell, I'm going to sit with you and evaluate your needs first and what your future plans are. And according to that, I'm going to suggest you should buy or sell right now or not. Isn't that would be great advice? Well, but I'd love to hear from you. I'm just doing my first time home seminar on June 1st in Oakville. Watch out for the promotion, which is going to happen soon. And you're most welcome if you're thinking of buying a real estate or just want to have a conversation. We're going to have a mortgage broker on site, which have provide you like what trends are going on, not only the market scenarios happening, but what other programs out there to help you even in this difficult times. And it's always good to have education. You might not be buying right now, maybe thinking about buying in 6 months when interest rate go down, or in a year or two. But keeping up to date with the information in advance will help you deciding that. With that, thank you for watching. Keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and make comments. Bye for now. And this podcast is for informational purpose only and should not be considered as financial or investment advice. Consult with your professional before making any real estate decisions.